2023 will mark the 75th anniversary season of NASCAR, and there's a lot of things that are going to be changing from 2022 to 2023. So today, I want to tell you what you need to know about NASCAR in 2023. Starting off, let's look at the schedules, and the Cup one at that. There's really four major changes that will be noticeable to fans this year, aside from the fact that NBC will be getting one extra race on the main network instead of USA. And the first of these is with both Atlanta races. Again, there will be two of them, but unlike last year, there won't be one 400-miler, but instead will be two. With Atlanta becoming a super speedway last year, this will mean that Atlanta will have a bit of a uniqueness to it. Both Talladega races are 500 miles. There's the Daytona 500, of course, and then one 400-miler at Daytona in the summer. So this will be the only super speedway track with two 400-mile races. Then you have the All-Star race. It has been a huge announcement that North Wilkesboro is coming back to be the All-Star race location for the NASCAR Cup Series this year. And it's going to be one of the most anticipated races, if not this year, ever. And it's also going to be accompanied by the Truck Series race the day before. Now, the Xfinity Series will accompany the Cup Series on the 4th of July weekend as they head back to Chicago, at least the area, for the first time since 2019. And this will be done in the streets of Chicago at the Chicago Street Race. This is another race that I think a lot of people anticipate and will be, no matter what happens, one of probably the most controversial ones, as this has already been one that many people, including myself, I will admit, are not really happy about when you look at Chicagoland Speedway being race ready at the moment. And then we have Texas. Good old Texas. Well, that race is going from a 500-mile slog to a 400-mile slog. Texas has been widely, over the last half decade or so, the most hated track in NASCAR, with the boring racing, the fact that it takes up spots in the schedule that more equipped tracks could take up, and now it seems that NASCAR and SMI are listening. Its one lone race will be 400 miles. Now, with the Xfinity Series, there are two major updates. Number one is the Xfinity Series will replace the Truck Series as the companion series for the Sonoma weekend. And also, at the end of July, they will go to Road America while everybody else is over in Richmond. For the Truck Series, other than the ones I've mentioned, there's one major change: the return to the Milwaukee Mile, which will be the day after the summer Daytona night race. Heading over to the silly season rosters, we have tons of changes, just in the Cup Series alone. For instance, this will be Kevin Harvick's swan song season. Harvick has been racing in NASCAR in the Cup Series since 2001 full-time, and now 2023, his 23rd year, will be his final one. Another long stalwart of the Cup Series will be moving teams for the first time since 2008, and in the 8 car for RCR will be Kyle Busch. This is one of the biggest storylines heading into 2023, as for the first time since going to Joe Gibbs Racing, he's going to be in a Chevrolet as well. Kyle Busch is not the same Kyle Busch he was in 2019 by any means, but he is still a very good driver, somebody who will be up front competing for wins multiple times this year, and if you listen to some, maybe even a championship favorite. Now, somebody else who's going to be moving teams again in the sense of moving from the Xfinity team to the same team for the Cup Series is AJ Allmendinger, who jumps up to the number 16 car full-time for Call League. The 16 had been part-time with many different drivers subbing in, and Allmendinger was one of them, scoring a win, for instance, in 2021 at Indianapolis and almost winning at COTA last year. Now, another person that's coming up is Ryan Preece, who replaces Cole Custer in the number 41 Ford. Custer had really been a terrible driver in the Cup Series, and Preece finally got his chance thanks to Tony Stewart. Now, there's also some legacy talk, in the sense that Petty GMS will be renamed Legacy Motor Club. Jimmy Johnson has signed on as a co-owner of the team and a part-time driver of their number 84 Chevrolet. And Noah Gragson jumps up to the Cup Series for his rookie season in their number 42 Chevrolet, replacing Ty Dillon. Tyler Reddick, another tie, replaces Kurt Busch in the 45 Toyota. Busch, after suffering a concussion last year, announced he is done with full-time driving, and as of recording this video, he is not ready to return in any sense medically. Alex Bowman returns from a concussion this year, though, in the number 48, and he has a new crew chief in Blake Harris, who is one of the most aggressive when it comes to trying different things and really helped rejuvenate Michael McDowell's career last season. Ty Gibbs will be the other rookie that will be beside Noah Gragson on the stage, as he's going to be in the rebranded 54 team that was the number 18 team. For the first time since JGR was formed, the 18 will not be on track, as the 54 will be the new era JGR franchise team with Ty Gibbs. Chandler Smith moves to colleague in the Xfinity Series, and we'll talk more about that in a bit, but he also is part-time in the number 13 Cup Series colleague car, so colleague is expanding. Helio Castroneves was rumored to be in the Daytona 500, but as of recording this, he has said that it's pretty much out of the question for this year. But that's not the case for Travis Pastrana, who will drive the number 67 Toyota for 2311 to try to get into the Daytona 500 this season. So that's going to be another interesting look, as the 500 field seems to expand daily. Trackhouse's Project 91 won't run the Daytona 500, but plans to run 6 to 8 races this year in their number 91 Chevrolet with different international drivers, mostly at road courses, but it could expand into the future. This worked really well last year, and it's going to be really exciting to see who they get into certain races for one-offs or maybe for the future. Now let's look at the Xfinity and Truck Series, as a lot of big names have moved there too. I talked about Cole Custer moving out of Cup earlier. Well, he'll be in the SHR number 00 Ford this year, and he ran pretty well in his limited time last year, so he's probably a championship contender, especially since when he was last a full-time Xfinity driver, he competed for a championship. Brandon Jones will head to a championship car with JRM's number 9, replacing Noah Gragson and bringing over sponsor Menards. He ran for JGR, but seeing how that relationship really ended on a sour note, it's going to be interesting to see him in a new start. Landon Castle and Justin Haley will share the number 10 for colleague this year, among other drivers possibly, as Voyager and the entire crypto scene has really bombed for Castle and cost him that full-time ride. Now, when it comes to JGR, the number 18 and the number 20 will be full-time, with the 18 having Sammy Smith and the number 20 having John Hunter Nemechek move up from the Truck Series. As for Big Machine Racing Chevrolet, well, their number 48 car will be Parker Kligerman's for a full-time season. Now, for the Truck Series, because of Kyle Busch's move, a lot of moves have happened, but the big one is that KBM is a Chevy team. Chase Purdy will run the number 4, and Jack Wood will share the 51 with owner-driver Kyle Busch. And DGR will be rebranded as a Toyota-backed Tricon Garage team, with Dean Thompson, Corey Heim, Tanner Gray, and Taylor Gray driving the 4 trucks. Christian Eckes joins McAnally's number 19 Chevy team, and Raja Karuth will run full-time in the number 24 for GMS. Thor Sport has switched to Ford, and while not many drivers have moved, this does mean that Hailie Deegan will move to the number 13, and this is really Hailie Deegan's make or break season. If she completely fails, it's probably over for her. On the TV side of things, we'll keep it quick. The TV rights deal for 2025 is coming up, and negotiations are starting this season. The current contract ends at the end of the season in 2024, and at the moment, Fox and NBC hold the rights, and both have started their bidding as they get the sort of grandfather clause of being able to put in their bids early. Though ESPN is interested, and it's going to be really interesting to see some of their moves and how they pay off on the NASCAR front. Now, lastly, here's some storylines you're going to want to keep a watch on throughout the season, whether it's free agents, negotiation, or anything else. Number 1, Denny Hamlin and FedEx being in a big year. It seems like Hamlin's contract is probably up. FedEx has said they're cutting about $2 billion in spending, and NASCAR's spending is a lot. It's very similar for many to the number 18 M&M situation, and it's going to be interesting to see if Hamlin parts ways to race for his own team, or if he finishes his career at JGR. Speaking of finishing the career, it could be the end of Truex's, as it's rumored that he may retire by the end of this year, though there's nothing official being put forth yet. Now, also a big one is, since Kevin Harvick is retiring, who replaces him in the number 4 car for SHR? Also, another question up in the air is, who gets Hendrick's 300th win? They're at 291 at the moment and only need 9. And to put it in perspective, HMS had 11 wins last year, 17 in 2021, but only 7 in 2020. Also, mufflers are being tested, and new noses will be on the Cup cars as well. So how this affects the racing and what teams adapt quicker will be very interesting, at least at the start of the year. But that pretty much covers it. There's tons of different stories. We can go in depth on all of them, but for now, that is your brief rundown on everything that's happening going into NASCAR's 2023 season. Now, I want to pass it to you and ask, what do you think is the biggest NASCAR story heading into the 75th year of the sport? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video and share this video and subscribe to the channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.